Think the rural purge of 1971 was brutal? Here, hold my remote. The late 70s were an absolute bloodbath for sitcoms. We're talking shows that had millions of fans, iconic stars, and solid ratings. Just gone. No finales, no explanations. Networks just hit delete like these shows never existed. Today, we're counting down 18 sitcoms that vanished between 1974 and 1980, leaving audiences wondering, what the hell just happened? Number 18, Good Times. Good Times ran from 1974 to 1979 and was a cultural phenomenon. It was the first sitcom to depict a two-parent black family and a housing project, and it tackled real issues while making people laugh. But behind the scenes, it was a mess. The show went through cast drama, creative conflicts, and by the end, it just felt tired. CBS canceled it during the 1978-1979 season without much fanfare. No proper goodbye for the Evans family, and they deserved better. Number 17, Maude. Maude was bold, controversial, and hilarious. Bea Arthur played a liberal, outspoken woman who wasn't afraid to tackle abortion, politics, and social issues head-on. The show ran from 1972 to 1978, and its cancellation felt sudden. CBS just decided they were done with Maude's opinions and pulled the plug. No grand finale, no final speech. Bea Arthur was left without a proper goodbye, and fans were robbed of closure. Number 16, The Jeffersons. Now, The Jeffersons technically ran until 1985, but let's talk about the early years. This show launched in 1975 as a spin-off of All in the Family, and it was a massive hit. George and Louise Jefferson moved on up to the East Side, and America loved them. But even during its peak years, in the late 70s, CBS treated it like an afterthought. And when they finally canceled it in 1985, there was no finale, no goodbye. The Jeffersons just stopped moving on up, and the cast found out about the cancellation from the media. Brutal. Number 15, All in the Family. All in the Family was one of the most important sitcoms in TV history. It ran from 1971 to 1979 and tackled racism, sexism, and politics, and changed television forever. But its ending in April of 1979 was surprisingly quiet. CBS didn't give it the grand farewell it deserved. Sure, it technically continued as Archie Bunker's Place, but the original show just stopped. For something this groundbreaking, you'd think CBS would have thrown a parade. Instead, they just moved on. Number 14, The Mary Tyler Moore Show. The Mary Tyler Moore Show ran from 1970 to 1977 and was a game changer. Mary Richards was a single, career-driven woman, and the show was smart, funny, and revolutionary. It won 29 Emmys, 29! But CBS ended it in 1977. And while there was a finale, it felt like CBS was already done with the show before it even aired. They didn't promote it properly. They didn't celebrate it the way they should have. And for a show this important, the network's indifference was insulting. Mary deserved better. Heck, we all deserve better. All right, if you're already feeling attacked on behalf of these forgotten shows, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. We've got 13 more casualties coming your way, and trust me, it gets worse. Number 13, The McLean-Stevenson Show. McLean-Stevenson left MASH thinking he'd be a huge star. Spoiler, didn't work out. His self-titled show in 1976 lasted 12 episodes before NBC Mercy killed it. McLean played a hardware store owner, which is about as exciting as it sounds. The show bombed, and NBC didn't even bother with a farewell. They just quietly ended it and moved on. McLean probably regretted leaving Hawkeye and the gang after this disaster. Number 12, The Baxters. The Baxters was a weird hybrid, part sitcom, part talk show, where families would discuss the episode's issues after watching. It premiered in 1979 and quietly faded by 1981. This show was syndicated, so there was no big network to even cancel it properly. It just stopped existing. Families stopped discussing, and episodes stopped airing. and the Baxters became a footnote in TV history that almost nobody remembers. Number 11, The Ted Knight Show. Ted Knight was hilarious on The Mary Tyler Moore Show, so CBS gave him his own series in 1978. 6 episodes later, it was dead. 6. That's not even a proper season. Ted played an escort service owner. Not that kind of escort, the boring kind. And viewers weren't interested. CBS canceled it so fast that most people didn't even know it existed. Poor Ted. He deserved better than a 6-episode obituary. Number 10, Tabitha. Remember Bewitched? Of course you do. Tabitha was the grown-up spin-off nobody asked for, following Samantha's daughter as an adult witch. It lasted 1 season from 1977 to 1978, and ABC pulled the plug without any magical intervention. No finale, no closure. Tabitha just stopped being a witch on TV, and fans of the original were left wondering why they even bothered. Even nostalgia couldn't save this one. Number 9, Phyllis. Phyllis was a spin-off of The Mary Tyler Moore Show, and it ran for 2 seasons from 1975 to 1977. Cloris Leachman was brilliant, but CBS didn't care. When ratings slipped, they canceled it with zero ceremony. No farewell episode and no wrap-up of Phyllis's storylines. The show just ended mid-stride, and Cloris was left hanging. CBS basically said, "Thanks for the Emmy. Now get out." Number 8, Hello, Larry. Hello, Larry premiered in January of 1979 and lasted 2 seasons. 38 episodes of McLean Stevenson playing a divorced dad and radio host. NBC thought pairing him with Diff'rent Strokes would help, but it didn't. The show was canceled in 1980 with no fanfare, no finale, and no explanation. McLean's TV curse continued. He could not catch a break, and NBC couldn't be bothered to give him a proper goodbye. Number 7, What's Happening? What's Happening ran from 1976 to 1979 and was groundbreaking. A sitcom focused on black teenagers navigating life in Los Angeles. It had a loyal following, memorable characters, and genuine cultural impact. And ABC canceled it anyway. No finale. No closure for Raj, Rerun, and Dwayne. The show just stopped, leaving fans devastated. It eventually got a revival in the 1980s called What's Happening Now, but that doesn't excuse the original cancellation being so abrupt. Number 6, Holmes and Yo-Yo. We're starting with a show so weird it's amazing it existed at all. Holmes and Yo-Yo was about a detective paired with a robot partner. Yeah, really. This was 1976, and someone thought, what if RoboCop, but a sitcom? 13 episodes later, ABC pulled the plug. No farewell, no explanation of what happened to Yo-Yo the robot. He probably ended up in a junkyard somewhere, wondering why his career ended before it started. The show was just too bizarre for its time, and ABC didn't even pretend to care when they axed it. If you're starting to think TV executives in the 70s had no hearts, you're absolutely correct. Smash that like button if you're personally offended on behalf of these shows. Number 5, The Bob Newhart Show. Bob Newhart's sitcom ran from 1972 to 1978 and was legitimately great. Bob played a psychologist in Chicago, and the show was smart, funny, and beloved. But in 1978, CBS decided they were done, and the show ended on somewhat abrupt terms. Sure, there was a finale, but it felt rushed, like CBS was already eyeing the next thing. For a show this good, it deserved a better send-off. Bob went on to have another hit sitcom in the 80s, but this cancellation still stings. Number 4, The Dumplings. The Dumplings lasted 10 episodes in 1976 and featured James Coco as a guy who owned a New York City diner. It was quirky, it was different, and NBC said, "Nope, we're good. Canceled. Done." The cast found out basically the same time viewers did, by not being renewed. No closure for the characters, no final meal at the diner, just an empty restaurant and confused fans wondering where their favorite dumplings went. Number 3, Just Friends. Just Friends premiered in 1979 and lasted exactly 13 episodes. It was about a guy and his platonic female roommate, which apparently was too scandalous or too boring. We'll never know which. CBS canceled it so fast you'd think the show personally insulted someone's mom. No explanation, no finale. The friends just stopped being friends on camera, and that was that. The late 70s were ruthless. Number 2, Quark. Okay, so imagine Star Trek, but a sitcom, but it's also about a garbage collector in space. That was Quark. It ran from 1977 to 1978, gave us 8 episodes of sci-fi comedy, and then NBC said, "This is too weird even for us." Which is saying something, considering this was the network that greenlit Holmes and Yoyo. Richard Benjamin starred as the galaxy's unluckiest janitor, and he didn't even get a proper goodbye. The show just floated off into space, never to be seen again. And at number 1, The Nancy Walker Show. Nancy Walker was a comedic legend. Rhoda's mom, the bounty paper towel lady, and ABC gave her 13 episodes in 1976 before pulling the plug. 13 episodes! The show was about a talent agent, and ironically, Nancy couldn't save her own show's career. ABC canceled it in December of 1976 with zero fanfare. No farewell episode. Nancy just disappeared, probably wondering why Hollywood was so ungrateful. So there you have it. 18 shows that disappeared faster than your motivation on a Monday morning. The late 70s were a brutal time when networks decided they could just cancel anything without explanation, and fans were left confused and betrayed. If this video made you nostalgic or angry or both, leave a comment about which cancellation hurt the most. And if you want more TV history deep dives, subscribe, because there's plenty more chaos where this came from. Thanks for watching, and remember, your favorite show could vanish tomorrow, and the network won't even send a breakup text.